Michelob Ultra and Mich Ultra wholesaler Better Brands Incorporated are excited to announce a new partnership with Sober Skipper, part of the Sea-Tow Foundation. While we know consumers enjoy relaxing days on the water with ultras in hand, it's important to remember to drink and boat responsibly. Choose to be or to designate a sober skipper before leaving the dock. Do it for your family and friends, your passengers, and everyone else on board. Michelob Ultra salutes all sober skippers who take the pledge. Cheers, and we'll see you on the water.
Realtree has always had a connection to the fishing industry and the outdoor lifestyle. In 2016, Realtree expanded on the traditional business of creating the world's most effective camouflage patterns to create a fishing brand and family of patterns designed to connect the woods to the water and strengthen the bond between the two worlds. We couldn't be more excited to be working with the industry's top brands, retailers, and anglers to continue our growth, and we hope that you will join us. Enjoy Realtree fishing patterns inshore, offshore, on the lake, or at the dock. Learn more about the extensive line Realtree fishing patterns, apparel, gear, and more at Realtree.com.
One thing that all of us outdoorsmen and women love to do is travel, whether to fish new waters or to chase wild game in other areas that we may not get opportunities at in our own area. Our friends at Monster Reservations Group want to open up an entirely new chance for you to travel and enjoy the outdoors or just relaxing. With over 40 destinations in the U.S. like beautiful Gatlinburg, Tennessee, Wisconsin Dells and Shenandoah Valley, Virginia, Poconos, Pennsylvania, and even our backyard here at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And many more. They are going to give you twice the vacation. That's right. Pay for 4 nights, and you're going to get 4 nights for free. That's $498 for an 8-night stay at one of our incredible destinations, and that's for simply listening to Trilogy Outdoors. Go book your trip and get all the details at www.monsterrg.com. That's monsterrg, all lowercase.com. Pay less for an incredible opportunity to explore the outdoors in your choice of over 40 destinations. Book your trip now.
Trilogy Outdoors.
All right, folks, welcome to Trilogy Outdoors, and I hope you've been enjoying the podcast over the last couple weeks, and we have just an incredible lineup of guests coming to you. My distinguished partner, and I love saying that, the one and only Senator Stephen Goldfinch is here with me, and, I do have a funny current event story to tell you about, the TikTok story about the crazy duck hunting lady out in Seattle. No, I can't remember where they were exactly, but I do know that it became very popular. It's got 380,000 views.
Whoa.
So real quick, we all know the Karens. We know the Karens.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that doesn't want you on his dock, the woman who doesn't want you fishing around her dock.
Oh, yeah.
So this guide is set up with 4 hunters out on this sound inside of this rocky bay. Mm-hmm. They're hunting, help me out with this,
Harlequins, probably scoters. On the West Coast, I think.
Golden eyes.
Golden eyes, for sure.
And I can't remember the other species they killed, but it was an incredible hunt.
Do they have old squaw on the West Coast?
Yes, old squaw.
Old squaw.
And their limit's a little different than ours, by the way.
Right.
But so they're hunting those, and long story short, they're sitting and they're on this. If you can picture this rocky bank on this, he pulled the boat up because I guess it was so calm they wanted to hunt the bank.
Right.
So they pulled the boat way down and they had come down on this public beach and they were hiding behind couple big trees that they laid in front of them, and one of the residents comes walking down and she walks right past them, and she's got a loaf of bread. She walks out to the edge of the beach and starts throwing the bread out. And the guide goes, and please, you've got to go find it. You can find it on TikTok. Just Google bread lady feeding ducks. But so she starts throwing it, and they're like, "Ma'am, those are decoys." And she turns around like, "What?" And she keeps throwing the bread. She has a couple choice words for them, and this is where the humorous part is. This is why you got to go see it. But I can't repeat some of the words, but it is quite humorous that this woman really thought that these decoys were live ducks, and she was there to feed them some bread. So
I believe I would have just stayed quiet and watched her.
Yep.
There are some people that are just amazing. And if it's an old lady that really doesn't know better, then maybe we should just let her live in her live in her mistake. If it's a woman that truly despises a duck hunter, that's when I engage.
Well,
right?
My next question would have been this: if you would have remained there hunting, are you in fact hunting over bait after she throws that loaf of bread out?
Great question. Great question. Was not put out by you.
Nope, you didn't put it out, but
you know it's there.
That's right. Well, you remember in our backyards here in Myrtle's Inlet, by the way, we are based here in beautiful Myrtle's Inlet, South Carolina. If you remember correctly,
seafood capital of the South.
Seafood capital of the South.
Yep.
If you remember correctly, I would say this was probably back in 2000, 2001, maybe 2. The local residents were up in arms about this goes previous to 2017.
Oh yeah,
were up in arms about the duck hunters.
Mm-hmm.
So several residents decided that they would put corn out.
Right, I do remember.
Stop me if you don't know. So they put corn out.
Yeah,
and then they said, "I dare you to go hunt over that corn.
It's baited.
It's baited."
Right.
And DNR got on them for baiting it.
That's right.
So it backfired. But, I used a reference Karen, and I know, listen, all you Karens out there who are sweet and might be big hunters, I'm sorry. Or fishermen. I'm sorry. But we all know that Karen relates to that. But
I don't think Karens hunt.
No, I don't think Karens do either. I don't either. But I'll tell you, one person I know that absolutely made a huge impact on the outdoors here in South Carolina, and I had honestly never heard of him until you brought him up, and it's Ben Moise from down in Charleston.
Totally.
And real quick, a quick intro to Ben Moise before we go to that incredible interview.
Well, Ben has been known in the Lowcountry for the last 50 years as somebody that is open and honest, easy to talk to, and knows everything you can know about the outdoors. And he was a game warden for, many of those years. Ben began to get a little older, decided to retire, and he was such a good writer and such a good orator that he decided to write a book about some of his stories while he was a game warden. And I'll tell you, if that doesn't sound entertaining to you, you don't know what you're missing, because this book is as entertaining as it gets. It's not only a book that you can read and say, yeah, I can imagine myself being in that situation. It's also funny. I mean, he is a really funny guy. And the name of the book is The Ramblings of a Lowcountry Game Warden. Of course, he was a game warden in the Lowcountry, patrolled Georgetown and Charleston counties for many, many years, and ran into a lot of the characters that we know.
Yep.
Some of our father's generation, but a lot of the characters that we know, and he has some fantastic stories, and I'm looking forward to talking to him.
Yeah, me too. And I'll tell you, I've started going through there, and actually this book must be really good, because if I'm not mistaken, you've started reading it twice now.
I have read it twice now.
Yeah, so definitely a book that you want to pick up. And something else, literature-wise, let's do a shameless plug here. Something else, our incredible lineups for Waccamaw Outdoor Magazine. If you're in our area at all, stop by any of our distributors or go to our website at waccamawoutdoors.com. Check out where you can find them. But go pick up our magazines. We got great people that like Senator Stephen Goldfinch and myself here who write for it. So,
yeah, we're going to
some other good writers.
We're going to have some very entertaining writing in Waccamaw Outdoors, and Inglis, I'm so proud of that publication and where it has come from and where it is going.
Yep.
And I tell you, we've done a lot of work to make it entertaining. We've done a lot of work to not only educate, but also to entertain.
That's right.
And I sure hope everybody goes and picks it up. And if you're not from South Carolina and you want a copy, get in touch with us.
We'll get it to you.
And we'll get it to you.
That's right. I'll tell you what, though. I know everybody's sitting back now. Hey, listen, get a cold beverage and get comfortable, because we do. It's an incredible interview with Ben, and why wait? Let's roll.
Let's do it. But, Ben, I'm going to sort of introduce you. Ben Moise, we're happy to have you. Ben is and Ben, I might get you to introduce yourself, quite honestly. But, you and I have known each other for, going back 20 years now, I guess, and hadn't really talked to each other in a long time. But when we started this podcast, you were one of the first names that popped up as a really interesting, entertaining guy with a lot of institutional knowledge of South Carolina outdoors. Ben, you were a game warden for how many years?
About 25 years.
In the Lowcountry.
All in the Lowcountry.
Yeah, and you live in Allendale now, I guess, right?
No, I live in downtown Charleston.
Do you live in downtown now? Excellent, very good, very good. You popped up as a name that we, there was no debate. You just had to be interviewed, and that's because you've got a name for writing. You have been a prolific writer over the years. You've written what I believe to be one of the best books on outdoors ever to come out of South Carolina. Archibald Rutledge wrote some fantastic South Carolina stuff, but Ben Moise ranks right up there at the top. And your book, Ramblings of the Lowcountry Game Warden, has brought a lot of smiles and laughs and tears to a lot of people over the years, including myself. And I wanted to talk to you about it. And, there's a lot of people from South Carolina that know your name, but I don't know what your reach is outside of South Carolina. And I want to make sure that we are appropriately reaching the target audience that you deserve. So, Ben, I want to start off with a couple of real simple questions for you, and just quite frankly want to just have a conversation with you about your history, who you are, how you came to be a game warden, and I want to hear some stories. So tell us a little bit about your life.
Well, I'd always wanted to be a game warden. Ever since I met one at this old country store I used to stop in on my rural paper route. And I wrote about him in a book. I don't have a name for him, but he wore a khaki uniform and a brown fedora and had an old blue steel revolver in a brown leather holster at his side. He used to stop in and mix an amazing concoction of BC powder, a sleeve of salted peanuts, which he would pour down the neck of a Coke bottle and give it a shake and then take swigs out of it. Which I thought was an amazing concoction.
Can I stop you right there? Because I think that is that's something, I hope that's something that's unique to South Carolina. My dad and my granddad and my great-granddad, as much as I remember him, all did the same thing. And I was curious where that came from. And a few years ago, I actually asked my dad, do you remember pouring peanuts and BC powder in a Coke bottle, glass Coke bottle? And he said, yeah, of course. And I said, where did that come from? And he said, I think it came from the days of picking tobacco or being on the farm. It depends on which side of the state you were on, whether or not you were picking tobacco or working corn or what, or soybeans or what. But he said, I think it came from the days of being on the farm and having one hand to work and one hand to drink. And while you're at it, you're able to have a snack if you poured your peanuts in the Coke. You find that to be accurate?
I certainly couldn't dispute it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Didn't mean to interrupt you. Just thought that was an interesting piece of history.
I wasn't big into picking tobacco myself, but I grew up on my grandfather's farm in Bishopville. And I could see how that could very well be, because they were always very busy with one thing or another.
All right. Right. Suckling tobacco was, I've got quite a few bad memories from my childhood. One would be digging graves, which was one of my many jobs as a kid growing up all through middle school and high school. One was laying brick. One was working at my other side of my family's hog farms, where I caught giardia as a kid. And then the last one would have to be suckling tobacco. The worst memories of a childhood you can have: hot, sweaty, and sandy, and snaky, all in the same time. Not a good place to be.
And sticky.
Sticky.
Yeah, that black tar, nasty stuff that comes out of the tobacco all over